alone dinner.
Yeah, it was the first meal I had because I was out in your field trying to catch a deer.
I just got way hungry.
We need to pack you a lunch and bring it here. I'm gonna bring a
Oh,
lunch.
yeah.
Please make lunches for Jamie's.
Never know what you get.
Nick, but- Well,
Carl, I'm in now.
I bought
Perfect.
loin, beef
Carl,
loin.
it's Dave Wilson. I'm in.
Thanks, Dave. I'm just waiting for Izzy to tell me she's ready. No pressure, Izzy. Hear the Jeopardy music. Maybe we should do that Jeopardy board meeting. Everything has to start with a question. Who is? What is? What is buying Curry's buying dinner?
Oil. I bought one.
There's no more fitting in there. Nice work. Telling them I had an ice party 40th tonight. Yes. Ran a buddy of mine. They're having a baby too.
Like departure.
Good food.
Yes, sometimes.
Good. See Shannon.
All right, we're good to go. We are in open session again at 6:36 PM. I will turn the meeting over to Mr. Curry.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll jump right into monthly presentation, 7.1, public safety. And I believe the sheriff is not here, but they have a document for you to read. 7.2, highway department, highway county engineer. Justin Crone, the floor is yours.
I've got a update on board docs. I don't really need to go through everything, I don't think. Just wanted to make everybody aware that Denny Road Bridge has been removed Tuesday. It was removed, so it will be out. Hopefully by our next December's meeting, I'll have an exact date on when it should be reopened. But contractually, I've got to have it reopened before Christmas, but hopefully it'll be it'll be closer to Thanksgiving than Christmas. One other thing I didn't put on board docs I was working on today that I just would like to update the board with is the grant for Poplar Grove Road, the TARP grant that we received probably about 8 months ago. That grant, I believed I had until 2023 to do that. It's actually 2022, so I'm going to be working on getting that one out. So we will be doing upgrades to Poplar Grove Road next year. That grant was $780,000, I believe. And I had been, the reason I was shooting for 23 was because that was when the bridge replacement was going to take place as well. We've got the grant for that one, and that grant doesn't allow us to start the bridge until late season of 22. So right now I'm working with IDOT to see if we can push either push both back or push both. I'd like to end it off with one pole so there's less inconvenience to the public in that corridor. Otherwise, everything else I've got on the sheet is pretty self-explanatory. I'm open to any questions.
Any questions in the boardroom? Rod Riley?
Real quick, Justin, I know it's McHenry County. Do you have any idea how the bridge is doing on Kishwaukee Valley Road? Is that anywhere getting close to being open yet?
Yep, I have regular conversations because there's a lot of detour traffic on our system. So they are on schedule and it will be open before the end of this year. So they wouldn't give me an exact date yet, but they said they're still on schedule to have it completed this year.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? The boardroom, do we have somebody on the phone as well as Dave? No? Okay.
Thanks, Justin.
He's just for clarification, Mr. Wiltsey is just listening in. He can't participate.
Okay, excellent. All right, thank you, Justin. All right, we'll move ahead to the quarterly department presentations. State's Attorney. Tricia?
Left 2 minutes ago. Apologize, I meant to make copies to hand out to everybody. But, so going from memory here, we're still busy at the civil division, again, helping all the departments, contract reviews. One thing that we've seen a lot of lately are FOIA requests that are always sensitive, and there's been some big volume ones. So poor Carla has had whiteout all over her hands for the last couple of days. So we've been busy with that. For the criminal division, we do expect we're going to have a murder trial coming up at the end of November. With that, there's going to be some added expenses. I don't think we're going to go over any line items, but just things that the county board has to think about is that we have to bring witnesses in from different places. In this particular case, we have to have a witness come in from Florida. The defendant speaks Spanish, so we have to have interpreters there. All those are added expenses to trials, especially, and then it's going to be a longer trial than usual. But we're real excited that that one's hopefully going to be moving to trial because it's about 3 years old. And then one thing that I did want to highlight was the Belvedere Police Department has gone to body cams now for their officers. And the other thing that adds kind of on the back end that maybe isn't thought about is that now as assistant state's attorneys, we need to review all that footage for cases. And it adds several hours actually to each case review, because even if it's 3 officers at the scene, you still have to watch each officer's body cam to make sure, something's caught on this one that's not caught on that one. And the county does not have to do it yet, but when that happens, it's going to be, every case is going to have body camera footage. So that's going to be more time out of the day for the assistant state's attorneys, and our caseload is continuing on. So it's going to be an added time, consuming issue. The state is looking at possible funding to compensate state's attorney's offices for that. They're talking about maybe for every, if you have 100 and then under, they might add funding for one assistant state's attorney position, kind of spread that out. So we'll see. I'll let the board know how that is going forward. And then the other thing I just wanted to highlight was the victim witness coordinator in our office. I think in the past at each board update, I've tried to highlight a different position in my office. What Maria does is she coordinates with the attorneys, talking to all the victims in the cases and witnesses. It's very important to have a neutral party in the room with you while you're talking to people in case they change their story. For various reasons it happens. They think of something that maybe they didn't tell the police at the time. Maybe they've, are completely changing their story as to what happened, and we need a neutral party other than the attorney in there to be able to document that and maybe testify to that in the future. She helps people with orders of protection, people that, come in over something that happened the night before. So it's she can't plan ahead for that. She's always great about making time for those things. She helps people with restitution. There's a crime victim compensation fund that paperwork has to be done that victims can be compensated through the state for various losses, monetary losses they have. And she also is bilingual. So at times we've loaned her out to other departments to assist with that, and that's wonderful. But she's a great asset to our office. And every year we ask for an increase from the grant that pays for a good portion of her salary. So far we have not received anything further, but we couldn't do the work that we do without her. So I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Any questions for Tricia in the boardroom?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to 8.2 Public Defender, Kerry.
Hello. My
Board
office,
is yours.
my office has, of course, been very busy because of the backlog with our traffic. I'm still covering half of the traffic cases for misdemeanors. And that means that on Thursdays, I cover both mine and Amanda Turek's cases so that she can have time to actually meet with clients. She's got such a backlog of appointments. It's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, we're closing cases. We're still busy having hearings. We haven't let COVID stop us. I've been to several conferences for drug court this month. That was several days worth of activities. And then right now, 3 members of my staff are engaged in going to the public defender conference, which we haven't been able to do for a while. And it is saving money for the county because normally it would cost about $200 a person, and this is $25 a person. But of course, it is time out of our schedule. But it's necessary for our continuing legal education credits. That's about it. Any questions?
Any questions for Kerry? I don't see any, Kerry. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 7.3 probation, Amy?
Good evening. Okay, when I wrote my narrative for the board tonight, we had, as of November 1st, we had 4 juveniles in detention. Last night it went up to 6 juveniles, and now today it went down to 5. So as of today, there are 5 juveniles in the Winnebago County Detention Center. Just wanted to be accurate on that. What I did not put on my narrative is that one of my officers, our drug court officer, learned to do a cognitive program training for, it's called Thinking for Change. It's a 6 to 8 month program where she facilitates a group with another officer, and they are doing that training for clients in the basement of the courthouse 1 night a week. So we are offering this service to our clients free of charge. It's an evidence-based program. It's been proven to be very successful. Now we have 2 groups running in our basement of the courthouse on Tuesday night. The Partner Abuse Intervention Program that I highlighted last month, and our Thinking for Change is in the adjacent room. So also on my narrative, I discussed the painting project at our office. We are getting the public areas painted. I've been working on this for quite some time, and it's finally come to fruition. He started 2 days ago and will be done next Wednesday. So I don't know if we want to talk about the salary equity adjustment now, or if we want to talk about it at the other section where it's on the agenda.
I think we talk about it later in the agenda.
Okay, that's all I have then, unless anybody has any questions.
All right, anybody have any questions?
Okay.
Thank you very much. All right, 7.4 circuit clerk, Miss Linda?
Good evening, everybody. Our office is busy as usual. We never really have any slow times. Right now, some of the main things we're dealing with, I've mentioned it before in the reports that the AOIC has come out with an order that changes our whole record-keeping manual, which is a really big project, how we entitle our cases, what categories that they are, how they fit into the fee structure that they imposed on us a couple years ago. That's all very complicated. There's a lot of training for staff. We're trying to put together some training also for the judges and for the Bar Association. In the middle of that, the e-filing system that we have to use, they made a major change on that and moved to a whole new reviewing system that is not working well and is making a lot of complications for all of the circuit clerks, all of our mandated e-filing through the whole state. So that is another challenge we're dealing with right now. Plus, we're dealing with the challenge of I'm retiring and leaving the office, trying to do all of the transitions that are necessary to make this go smoothly and work well. So in the middle of that, I have filled a position that I've kept empty for a long time. The circuit clerk prior to me had 2 chief deputies. I was one of those. So when I took over as circuit clerk, I just kept all those duties because I didn't have enough money to hire a bookkeeper at $12 an hour. You couldn't find one. So I just kept all those duties. But excuse me, throat's really dry. As I'm leaving the office, It's not fair to the other circuit clerk to whoever comes in to expect them to do 2 full jobs. So I have filled that vacancy, got a really good person in there. So I've created this, not created, but filled a new chief deputy position in the office. So we've done a little reorganizing, and hopefully that will make the transition smoother and give whoever takes over the position a really good support staff. So any questions?
Any questions? Go ahead, Kevin.
Linda, I guess I just have a question regarding the position. How is that going to be funded?
I will not have to ask for any extra money. I've worked my budget, so it will be within, I'm still within the budget.
There. Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Steve.
Linda, I'd just like to say thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Nice job.
Any other questions for Linda? Thank you so much, Linda. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Moving on to 9, written monthly departmental reports and updates. Anybody have any additional things to add? No? We will move on to new business. 10.1, I make a motion to approve claims with the understanding that Carl Johnson abstains from voting on all claims presented by.
I think you have to ask for a motion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Corrected. I need a motion to approve claims that understanding that Carl Johnson abstains from voting on all claims presented by William Charles and on all claims presented from Core and Maine and all claims submitted by the Boone County Highway Department. Bill Robertson abstains from voting on all claims presented by B. Robertson Lock Service.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Sherry Gieseke, seconded by Steve Schabacher. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same signs. Motion carried. 10.2, I need a motion to move ordinance 21-17, ordinance to opt out of preferential assessment for affordable rental housing construction and rehabilitation pursuant to property tax code 35 ILCS 215-178 forward to the county board for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Sherry Gieseke, seconded by Jonathan Van Laar. I believe, Jessica, did you want to come up and explain a little bit in detail?
Good evening. So it is my recommendation for the county to opt out of Public Act 102-0175. Within the statute, there is an opt-out clause. I think the state's attorney mentioned that in the ordinance or the narrative. This is really administratively heavy. Just within our office, new construction and rehabilitation projects would qualify with abatements that could be continued up to 30 years. And that does not even take into consideration the additional responsibilities that would have to be taken on by the building department as well for inspection of rehabilitation and both rehabilitative and new projects. So I think that it's a really good idea for us to take a step back from this. It would be very easy in the future for us to opt back in if we were approached with a project that the county was interested in supporting. So at this time, I'm recommending that we move this ordinance forward. If there's any questions.
Anybody have any questions for Jessica?
Thank you.
Nice job.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. My computer is slow. Sorry, I can get there. 10.3, I need a motion to amend the previously approved ordinance language from commission bylaws update, or do you need, I'm just guessing right now because I can't read it off my computer.
Okay, yeah, it's
You wanna-
a request
to amend an ordinance that was previously approved by the Boone County Board. But I believe County Board will then have to do the final decision. So it is a motion to move it. But I can go into a little bit about the background. Okay. So this is a direct request from the Boone County Agricultural Conservation Easement and Farmland Protection Commission. This commission was created by Ordinance 0618. Again, this was a commission that was created by this ordinance as well as the program of the same name. So this commission works with interested property owners looking to obtain a conservation easement in order to build a single family home. And so they have been looking at the bylaws that direct this commission. And it was the consensus that the chairman of this commission had always been elected by the commission members and not appointed by the Boone County chairman, as is stated in the ordinance and in the bylaws. So after review in the previous years and our most recent meeting, which happened on October 28th, 2021, they did decide to then bring this request to County Board in order to amend the language in that ordinance, which then would amend the bylaws. So the language I did put in the memo was the old language in section D, number 1, which states that the commission chairman essentially is appointed by the chairman of the Boone County Board. So the new language would then allow the commission chairman to be elected by a majority vote, which the rest of the officers are elected by the majority. So it's just that change that is being requested.
Anybody have any questions for Izzy? Go ahead, Jonathan.
Who makes up this board right now?
So this board is made up of a member of the Boone County Board, a member of the Planning Commission, a member of Pomona Grange, a resident of Boone County Soil and Water Conservation District, and the Boone County Soil and Water Conservation District, and the Boone County Conservation District.
Farm Bureau person.
And Farm Bureau, thank you. Yes. The Winnebago Boone Farm Bureau.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments?
It's the only one I remembered.
Still need a motion.
So moved.
Motion made by Sherry Gieske, seconded by Rod Riley. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 10.4, I need a motion to move essential worker premium pay eligibility criteria forward to the county board for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Bill Robinson,
Second.
seconded by Sherry Gieske. Any discussion? Go ahead, Carl.
This pay is not scheduled to be paid until the next fiscal year, correct? In the next budget year?
No, it can go out whenever it's separate from the budget.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Sherry?
I just want to make certain, it's every employee, every Boone County employee is eligible. Is that correct?
So so we've actually looked at what's presented tonight, and we believe that there should be probably a two-pronged test to this, that as of October 21st, when the ARPA plan, the initial plan was approved, you needed to be an employee as of that date, but then at the time of disbursement, you still need to be an employee, because we can't be in a position where we have an employee that's been, that has terminated their employment, and we're having to retroactively find their new address. They've been terminated in our Paylocity system. So it'll be a two-pronged test to that. And then we're going to further refine it to say and stipulate that the employees, because we have part-time employees that are actually part-time with a set number of hours that they work each week. But then we also have employees that are part-time in the sense that they don't have a set number of hours that they report to work. For instance, they're in the coroner's office. She has 20 plus I guess I call them deputy coroners, that they're just basically like almost paid on call, but they likely would not be eligible. And just kind of employees like that. So we'd probably actually further refine it and at least stipulate that in there as well so that we don't have part-timers that are not regular part-timers essentially receiving the stipend as well.
Okay. That makes sense.
Any other questions or comments?
And so I guess if I may, we plan to have that language on the board, for the board approval. So you guys will see that.
Mr. Chairman?
I'd just soon see this all done in the next budget year personally, so that it's a budgeted item, line item in the budget, if that's what we're gonna do, personally. I realize it's ARPA money or whatever that isn't necessarily bound by the budget, but I just think it sets a bad precedent to do it out of a budget, personally.
May I? So the federal government, the U.S. Department of Treasury actually recommends that it is separate from the budget because of the stipulations and the reporting requirements that it requires for the use of the funds. It would create a lot more administrative work if we actually integrate ARPA funds. If we start to intertwine ARPA funds and tax dollars, levies, and intertwine those to it, it makes the reporting quite complicated and quite cumbersome. We can do that, but it's going to create an administrative burden on the administration office for sure.
Any other questions or comment? All right, that being said, all those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Item 10.5, budget review. Is that you, Kevin?
Yes. So this item's back on the agenda just for further review. I know that there were some questions about some salary or wage increase proposals from the probation department. So I know Amy Gallino's here to answer some of those questions if those still exist. And then we can stand by for any further questions about the budget. I do want to point out that I did do further research. Ken Ramsey, a resident of Boone County, came up to the dais after the last meeting, asked for extension, University of Illinois extension history regarding their levy. We did, and we were able to find out that back, and I don't have the dates in front of me, but nonetheless, there were more referendums, and essentially they can go up to actually 5 cents. Historically, the county has kept them at 1 cent though. 5 cents and today in this budget would be to the tune of over $600,000 or something. So nonetheless, that could happen, but historically the county has done that. And then I did speak to the VAC regarding a potential move. I actually visited their office, and they don't have a whole lot of space, but they did bring up some concerns with moving just because of the clientele they deal with. They would rather not have them frequenting this campus just because of the privacy concerns and just the issues that they deal with, and they believe it's more convenient to be downtown. So we respected that, but they did say they would stay and remain flat this upcoming year in their budget since they have a pretty good fund balance. So that's all the news I have to share for this evening. I stand by for any questions.
Any questions? Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
I'd like to, and I don't know, Ms. Gallino wants to come up. I'd like to talk about the probation salary adjustments that you're asking for. I'm not finding it here in the board docs.
It was last time.
Yeah, I looked there too. I couldn't seem to find it. So I probably just looking in the wrong spot. But as I recall, approximately $2 an hour across the board. Okay. I mean, in the past we've had, and I talked to staff about this, but I didn't say anything on that either, that we had an agreement with probation department on their salaries versus all the other salaries the county did. How is that in effect with this? And I'm just a little concerned about jumping those salaries up $2 an hour.
Sure. So I'm asking for a salary equity adjustment. And the reason being, throughout the course of a day, I get many notifications from the Administrative Office of the Illinois Courts and other jurisdictions of job vacancies and what their starting salary is for their positions. And I recognize that it was quite different than our starting salary. So I did a salary survey of counties our size, counties in our area, to really get a handle on what we are starting our officers at in comparison to other counties in the state of Illinois. We're all accountable to the same standards as a probation officer. I could be in any county in Illinois and I have the same probation casework standards, the same trainings. So we're equal. I have brought some numbers together. If you would like to see some numbers on why I feel it's justified to keep us competitive, to start our officers at a higher salary and to retain our officers at a salary that is comparable to counties in our area. On average, we are $2 to $3 lower than all of the counties that I had surveyed. If you would like to, I could pass out some information if you'd like.
Sure.
I think I have.
Does anybody have any other questions or comments?
And then I will speak to the agreement. The agreement would remain in place. This is a one-time adjustment. It wouldn't be that we would be coming back every year to ask for this.
Yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
So just so the board is aware, this is similar, this pay equity adjustment is similar to a recent contract that we just bargained, Highway Department. So it's not atypical to perform a salary equity adjustment, and it's not atypical to do that nowadays anyway. And in today's day and age, it's with the pandemic and work ethic and trying to recruit, you end up spending a lot more money trying to train a new, in Amy's case, a new probation officer, and even just trying to garner the interest, regardless, is very difficult in the law enforcement field. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out.
And I will note these numbers reflect county fiscal year 21 for these counties. It does not factor in if there were, budget time periods for fiscal year 22.
Go ahead, Jonathan.
Are we having a hard time right now retaining our probation officers at our current?
I lost an officer. She left our position to go back to her old position because it paid more money.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you. Oh, sorry, Chairman.
Just, Amy, I apologize. Like I said, I don't have the other information that you presented prior. I don't know. I can't seem to find it, but what would be the increase in your budget if we did this $2 an hour adjustment, just on that? So this is an increase on the adjustment, or I'm sorry, an increase on the salary, and then there would be the raises on top of that, I'm assuming, right?
This numbers that I'm presenting now, what we're asking for to adjust it to $20.15 an hour at 40 hours a week, that is just the $2. That is not including any other percentage of what other non-union employees would be getting.
Is this just a starting wage, the 2015, or this is everybody's?
Yes, that's a starting wage.
Okay, so all the other existing officers would not be getting a $2 an hour adjustment?
They would.
Okay, so that's what I'm curious as to what that $2 adjustment, how is that affecting your budget? And is there a salary increase on top of that $2?
So I think that I didn't present the information, the numbers you were looking for. Dan Street had put some numbers together. I think it was a $9,685 number.
I have it right here. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
That's
It was
okay.
laying on our desk at the, I I don't know if it's finance.
I think it's finance.
Before, I think it was finance. I've got the numbers right
Yes.
here, if you want to take them. read
No,
them.
I have that. Thank you,
Okay.
Sherry. You know, I will note that Winnebago County, the county in our judicial circuit, they are making $20.15 an hour.
For their starting salary.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I just want to be clear. I'm sorry if I'm not catching this. So you're asking for the $2 salary adjustment for all existing employees
Correct.
and the 2% and the other adjustment on top that you typically get?
Not the 2%, no, $2 an hour.
Okay. Okay.
Good. Anybody else have any questions or comments?
How many officers in the office again, Amy?
There are 8 officers. I'm an officer, but I do administrative work. So I have 7 officers, 2 juvenile officers and 5 adult.
And then Amy, I guess if you may remind the board of the officers, how does that reimbursement work again?
So there are 5 officers that are fully reimbursed by the state of Illinois. 2 officers have partial reimbursement. There's 1 officer that is county funded and our administrative assistant is county funded. So I believe that $9,685 number, I struggle speaking of that number because that was not a number I came up with. But I believe that number is what it will cost the county. That's what, they're about what I think Dan Street had determined would cost the county for this adjustment.
The rest would be picked up by the state.
Correct, from reimbursement.
Any other questions or comment? Go ahead, Mr. Riley.
Just one more, Amy. What's your minimum educational requirements for?
4-year degree, bachelor's.
Any other questions or comments?
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Don't need to approve anything.
No, we'll include it back on the finance agenda, and then the finance committee will recommend it for approval.
Kevin, do you have this? Because Dan did, I think,
Yeah, I have it on my desk, yeah.
just in case you don't, it's scribbled, but it shows the reimbursement, it shows the total amount, the reimbursement, that 9,685 is what we're left dealing with.
Could you white out all that scribble, please? And then
Well, you might want to read some of it, it might be fun. You wouldn't be able to read my writing.
Can we get that added into the board docs so that board members can access it on the budget review stuff? Please, thank you.
moving on to 10.6 raffles. I don't believe we have any.
None this evening.
Okay. Item 11.1 landfill. You had a little update, I believe?
Yeah, just an update that TRC, our consultant, the rest of the PVC wells. So we'll go through this next year and they'll conduct all of their site assessments and environmental analysis, and we'll see where that gets us with the IEPA, and we're hoping that it'll be good news since we had good results on the first PVC well. That's where we are. We are working with them to dispose of some material that is collected. It's considered contaminated, so that has to go to a landfill. It's not Waste Connections in Winnebago, it's a different one. Nonetheless, we're working on that, but it should be, we're hoping it's successful, so.
Good. Big deal.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions or comments in regards? Moving on to informational items and other business correspondence.
Yes, if you wouldn't mind, the Veterans Affairs Commission attached their annual event that they host for veterans, Veterans Day activities. That'll be Thursday, November 11th, and they'd love to see you guys out there at the VFW at 10 a.m. So that's on there, and then just some information from our Regional Office of Education. Then we have an application for biosolids that we put on their notification to the board.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody have any questions or comments?
But a quick one.
Sure, go ahead, Sherry.
This is the dumbest question. I ask a lot of
Questions are dumb questions.
that parcel number, can I access that to see where this location is?
Oh, yeah.
Jessica left. No,
Here,
No, she's back.
We can,
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
528,400 Old Port.
yeah, we
Oh,
can,
I can just go, how do I do it?
it's on the tax database, but I'll send it out. That's not a problem. It's on the treasurer's, you can access the tax.
Oh, okay, I'll do that. Because somebody gets them up my way and I want to see if that's who it is.
Moving on to 12.2 UCCI advocacy groups.
Just the only item in there is, they have a meeting, I think in 2 weeks, that is, November 15th. And it's in Springfield. Board members are able to go if they want. They don't have a remote option this month, but, the agenda is attached, and let us know if you'd like to go and we can get you registered.
Moving on to 12.3 board member comments. Anybody have any questions or comments? Go ahead, Mr. Riley.
Yeah, I just had a couple things I wanted to bring up. One of which, I think we got the letter from Jeff before last meeting, whatever it was, that he's resigned from the board, correct?
Correct. That was a week or two. So it was after the last meeting that Mr. Carlisle brought the letter in.
Okay, I just wanted to just bring it up to the board. I hope, one of the things that Jeff advocated for the most, one of the many things that he advocated was the vetting process for picking another person for this seat on the board. I do believe that's going to be a choice that comes from, a recommendation that comes from our chairman. But I just want to put it out that I really think we need to look at this process, get involved in it, vet the person very carefully. This is going to be someone that sits with us at our board. I think we should all have a little bit of input on that. And again, we just really need to make sure that the vetting process goes well, so we know who's going to be representing us, representing that district on our board. So throwing it out there.
Any other questions, comments? I would just point out that we did start back the ad hoc committee for law and record, which is making some good headway right off the bat. It's a really good committee, and Izzy does some great work, and I think we're making a lot of positive change in the county that makes life a little bit easier. This is a question to age-old policy. It's a good thing. Anybody else have any questions, comments?
I did have one more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and then I wanted to also bring up too, I know Julie's not here tonight. I was just wanting to make sure we were keeping up with we've got a reapportionment done for the chairman and the districts for the Boone County Board lines. I'm just kind of wanting to make sure we stay on top of the issue of the precinct redistricting if we're going to be doing that. I know there was some issues brought up back in May of this year, I think, that we talked about it, that there were going to have to be, if we do some more of the redistricting with the precincts, that it was going to be possibly be more equipment that would have to be bought, personnel that would have to be done as we're doing the budget process. I'm just curious as to whether we're going to be able to get this stuff done in order to be able to look at that issue as well. If we need to make adjustments in the budget for Julie's budget, I'm not sure. So I wanted to bring up.
Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
I can answer a little bit of that for you. I had a conversation with Ms. Bliss not long ago. She is evaluating the new laws that the legislature just put in recently in the veto session, which did adjust some of the precincts and precinct sizes and things like that. And that, along with the changes in district borders that we approved, she's putting all that together. But initial evaluation is that some things will have to adjust, but that it should not affect, or I don't believe we're going to need to buy a lot of equipment or have more volunteers, and just be able to move a couple of lines here or there to make things work. So she's still evaluating that, so I don't want to speak fully, but I know that she's on top of it and working on it.
Yeah, if I remember right, she said I had to wait until everything was done with the new laws went into effect as far as the districting through the state and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, there was nobody was sure if they were going to address some of the old language. There was some language in there that was pretty old that didn't really apply anymore. So they did address that and that changed some things and some sizes and stuff like that. So she's in the process of evaluating all that.
And the only other one thing I wanted to bring up, I hate to keep stealing the show here, but I really did want to take a minute and thank Linda for her service. I don't know Linda that well. I know how difficult the circuit clerk's office is, working in it for over 30 years myself as a police officer. But I'm sure your job is not an easy one. It's a thankless job in a lot of ways, I think, but that office is very important. And I'm just concerned too, as far as I know that that's a political decision along with everything else. But there again, as with the replacing Jeff's situation, we need to definitely look at a vetting process for that as well. Make sure, I don't know, I know it's been in the paper that we're looking for someone to step forward. I don't know how that's going. I don't know if there's someone from Linda's office that's looking to step forward. But there again, it's another situation where I really think we need to take a good look at who's going to be taking that position. And it'll be, and I have to run for election next time anyway, so that'll be fall of next year. But just something that I'm very concerned about. I think we should all be concerned about that and have some kind of a opinion or process, be part of that process of who's going to be taking these positions. So, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns among the board members? All right. You want to take back over for another executive session?
We do. So we need executive session to go over collective bargaining and personnel. So I'd accept a motion to go into executive session for collective bargaining and personnel.
I make that motion.
By Mr. Shabak, seconded by Mr. Curry. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call. Carl Johnson, yes. Sherry Gieske.
Yes.
Jonathan Van Laar.
Yes.
Ray Larson.
Aye.
Steve Shabak.
Yes.
Ryan Curry.
Yes.
Bill Robertson.
Yes.
Rodney Riley.
Yes.
Freddie De La Trinidad.
Yes.
Motion carries. We're in executive session. Mr. Wiltsey, do you want me to call you on your cell phone again?
Well, I'm here now. Do you need to drop it and then redo it?
How do we do that?
So we can move everybody out and it'll keep recording.
So-
Take it off live though.
So we'll have to take it off live, but can we keep Mr. Wiltsey in?
Stay in, yeah.
Okay, so he can stay. So, all right, she'll keep you in, Dave.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.